Alright. Imagine Canton. I will tell a funny story. Perhaps on what just transpired inside there on account of their straws quite literally sucking or not sucking. Their broken straw problems. And the chaotic arguments that ensued. The chaotic, outlandish arguments that ensued in public. In which I quite lovingly put the guys. He tells me, he's like, well, if your straw's broken, like, maybe next time just grab three or four straws. Like, I don't want to grab three or four fucking straws. And like, just throw them away. Like, at the end, like, contribute to landfill. Like, no. Like, that's not an acceptable solution. He's like, well, can I refund your drink? Like, well, a bare minimum, you can refund my drink, but more than that, you can, like, refund the damn movie, because I had to get up twice to get out of my seat and go and get another straw. And I got a second straw. And the second straw, I opened it up and put it in the thing and started drinking out of it, and it was exactly the same. It was like broken, snapped. Like, fuck. Yeah, a bad batch of straws or something, but get that shit under control. Unacceptable. And Christian was rewarded with some free free movie passes as well, and some free swag. Joy, I got you a Captain America shield. Yeah. What do you think about that? He's handling it just fine. Okay, champ. Joy is chilling out with her free Captain America shield.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome to Real Time. Okay. Sit down. Thank you. There's so much to get to. Start with this. Sometimes, you got to hit rock bottom. And it took us 6 weeks here in America. I mean, even the Republicans now are alarmed what Trump is doing. I mean, they're telling their own people, don't go to the town halls because other Republicans are screaming at you too much. Really, they're turning on Amy Coney Barrett. They're turning on her. She's a bad one now. And Musk had a shouting match with the other people in the cabinet. The stock market does not. They do not like this kind of instability. This tariffs. One day Trump puts the tariffs on. The next day he takes it off. The next day he does it with Mexico and Canada. It's on, it's off. It's on. And then he pulls it back at the last second like he's delaying orgasm or something. They don't like this. Canada's very pissed. Canadians here, oh my gosh, because they're so pissed that even though we took the tariffs off temporarily, they said they're keeping theirs on, and then Trump came back and said, okay, there's now a 250% tariff on Canadian dairy products, which, to be fair, Canadian cows have been taking the jobs of American cows for a very long time, and it's got to stop, ladies and gentlemen. And then, this story, and a story that I feel is a tremendous threat to comedians, because you could never have a punchline stupider or funnier than the actual premise. In an attempt to censor some DEI stuff, the Defense Department is deleting all the photos from a database, 26,000 of them, and one of them was of the Enola Gay. That is the plane that... I'm telling you, the premise is... That's the plane that dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and ended World War II, but they're getting rid of it because it has gay in it. What did they find out? That every plane has a cockpit? I mean, this world is so upside down now. It took Trump like 3 weeks to break up with Ukraine and Mexico and Canada, and yet Taylor Swift has the same boyfriend for over a year. She can take it. I know. And then in the midst of all the shit that's going on, Trump makes a speech about how great things are. Did anybody see this speech on Tuesday night? Oh my gosh, the Republican side, is a joint session of Congress, like the State of the Union speech. Republicans, they loved it. They were cheering and stomping and applauding. Lindsey Graham threw his panties. It was very, very exciting for them. And the internet was all abuzz because at the speech, Elon Musk was there, and he was sitting next to an attractive blonde woman. But turns out that they were just seated together, never met her, there's no connection, and her due date is in December. Oh, I kid, Elon. No, I think he did try to pick her up. Because he used his standard pickup line, haven't I fired you somewhere before? But I thought the highlight of the whole night was when Trump saw John Roberts in the audience, shook his hand. Now, John Roberts, of course, the head of the Supreme Court, is the one who gave him complete immunity last year. Whatever a president does, you can get away with it. It's not illegal. And Trump said to John Roberts, thank you again. I won't forget it. I guess not just actresses are rewarded for playing prostitutes these days. And then, at the speech, there was a lot of rowdy shit that went on. A Democratic Congressman, Al Green, not the tired of being alone guy, a different Al Green. He's 77, he uses a cane, and he was shaking his cane at the president, which I thought was an apt metaphor, a cane. shaking for this Democratic Party. Lame. That's okay. Please. I don't need your pity. I'd appreciate it. I just don't have it. But, it's interesting. The Democrats are fighting back in a way. You know how Republicans are always threatening a government shutdown? Well, now the Democrats are going to do that. Yeah, they said they're tiring of all this firing and all this furloughing and all this closing of government departments. And they say, if you don't stop shutting down the government, we're going to shut down the government. That's where America is. And then the White House, amid all of this, had the first crypto summit. And we're going to have a crypto reserve. Now, some question the wisdom of associating with a brand that's all just about scandals and thefts and scams. But if crypto is willing to work with Trump, I say go for it. All right, we got a great show. Alyssa Fowler Griffin and John Tester are here. But first up, here's the best-selling author and humorist who starts his tour on March 30th across the U.S. in 40 cities. Fuck, including... I couldn't do that. Boston, Detroit, Nashville, and his latest essay collection, Happy Go Lucky, is now in paperback. David Sedaris. Okay, so you
looked good the last time I came on here.
You do, and you've outdone yourself, and I know this country because you are a world traveler. You and I are very different in that way. I'm a homebody. You just seem to like to be on the road. You're about to do 40 cities. That's insane to me. But this probably doesn't come from somewhere in America.
No, it all came from Japan.
Japan. This is what they wear in Japan?
No. But they make it there. But I just realized I'd never worn these shoes before, but I could look up women's skirts, but I don't want to.
Can I have them?
Well, you go on tour a lot.
I just stopped. Yeah.
You stopped?
Yeah. Yeah, it was in all the papers. I mean, I may go back to it. I don't know. I didn't make a big announcement about it, but I've had 42 years of dragging my ass out of bed on Saturday morning, and I just was fucking fed up with it.
I liked your comedy special on it.
I loved it. Thank you. I love doing it, but you know what? We'll see. But what is this part of it?
This is actually like a T-shirt that I wore under the shirt.
A T-shirt?
See, anyone can buy it. Not everyone can put it together. So I put the T-shirt under the shirt.
Wow.
You know what? When I look in the mirror, I just see the clothes. I don't see me. I think everyone has body dysmorphia to some extent. So maybe that's mine. But have you read there's a kind of body dysmorphia where you look in the mirror and you think, I should be an amputee. And it's an actual thing. And people go to South America and they have their limbs removed because they won't do it in America.
But why did they
There was
think
an
that?
article about it in the Atlantic, and it was a woman had both her arms removed.
But why?
She, ever since she was a child, she looked in the mirror and thought, I should not have arms.
I mean, that's the unusual side of it. I mean, I have heard a lot about body dysmorphia. What we used to hear was that men look in the mirror and they think they're better looking than they are. Wait a second. Wait a second. And women look in the mirror and think they're worse. I don't know. I've never known a woman who could pass a mirror without stopping and looking, and I never do that.
You don't ever do it?
No. I mean, why would I? I'm almost 70.
I don't do it too often. I mean, if I'm getting dressed, I do it. But other than that...
Yeah, right. But women do. Okay. But you're like old school gay. I mean... Yeah, you are. I mean, I know a lot of people like that. Andrew Sullivan's the same way, and has issues with like this new. I mean, there's gay and queer, and it's kind of a different thing. What is it? How would you say that? What is the difference there?
To me, I don't like the word queer. I don't. But well-meaning people will now say, "Well, as a queer author," and I just cringe.
Right.
Not because it used to be an insult, but because it's the fourth time in my life I've been rebranded.
Right.
The fourth time. And nobody asked me. Nobody ever said, how do you feel about this? And I just don't, and that's what I object to. Also, I think it's kind of like maybe, like I was in Australia recently and met somebody who knows a nun who identifies as queer because she's married to God. And it's not a traditional sexual relationship. So she identifies, and I just don't see what I have in common.
No, when well, the outfit.
Yeah. It's a generational thing because I ask people when I'm signing books, when I meet men my age and older, they feel the way that.
Well, that's what I was taught as a young Catholic boy. I mean, I was taught with catechism. We went where you learned how to be a Catholic, and we were taught by nuns, and they were mean. And we were told, you know, nuns are married to Christ, who apparently was not putting out because. No, because that is a type of mean you don't find anywhere else. But speaking of gay and Catholics, you met the Pope last year. I read the New Yorker piece was priceless. I mean, so funny. But I think you all were saying in the piece, and I'd like you to answer the question here, why you? Like it was a meeting of comics mostly, and you're one of the funniest people I know, but you're not Catholic.
No.
Why?
I have no idea why I was there. And I was minding my own business. And it was May, and I got an email that said, the day after tomorrow, do you want to meet the Pope? So, and I was in England, so it was pretty easy to go. And I thought, why would I not go? It's a chance of a lifetime. But, so I went, and I came back, and I said, I met Chris Rock. That's what I mean, I met the Pope and I shook his hand, but I didn't feel it didn't mean anything to me. But Chris Rock was there, and Whoopi Goldberg was there, and gosh, all these super funny people. And then we went to the Vatican, 6:45 in the morning, and the priest read a speech, and the Pope read a speech, and it wasn't very good. I mean, it basically said laughter makes the world go round. I thought he wanted to have a dialogue. I thought, really what I thought he was going to do was say, do you think you can give the pedophilia jokes a rest? That's what I thought he was going to do. But he never, you know, it was interesting. Afterwards we met him. He sat in a chair and everybody lined up and we shook his hand. And I had nothing, I said, oh, thanks for having me. But there were people there who had something to say, who memorized things in Italian. And this is what the priest would do, shake the hand. He would take the hand and next.
Right.
And so I didn't have anything to say, but for people who had rehearsed and really thought about it a long time, I think they were a bit let down by it.
So he was like working the rope line.
Yeah.
And so they didn't even get to finish the little spiel that they had planned?
No. But probably it's
that's cold.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cold.
But he was on a timer. You know, I mean, he had to go somewhere and be somewhere, and he probably wasn't there. With people who cared. You know what I mean? Like with people who don't care that much, you can still get it over with pretty quickly.
So Chris Rock cared?
I don't know how much he cared, but he was...
Yeah, I didn't even know he was Catholic.
Mike Birbiglia was Catholic, but Stephen Colbert's Catholic.
That I knew.
Whoopi. And well, there were plenty of people.
So they just wanted to meet this big Catholic celebrity. I don't get it. And I look, I don't dislike the Pope. You know, I'm an atheist, but I feel like for popes, he was pretty good. He was, you know, he would go back and forth. You know, one minute he would take kind of a hip pill and say, hey, atheists can get into heaven, which was like, we don't believe in it, so we don't care. But, you know, you know, and then he said some very progressive things about gays.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he would remember, but you know what, I'm the fucking Pope. I got it. You know, I got to, you know, come down hard on some shit, and he would do that. But that's about as good as you're going to get in that office.
Well, people were upset because twice in the past couple of months he used the word faggotry, and I just thought it was funny because I didn't even know that was a word, but it's it's a keeper, you know. It's not what you call a person,
No.
you know. It's not like shut up, fag. It's more like take your faggotry outside. It doesn't bother me.
I can see a store at the mall, you're selling this, and it's called faggotry. I'm just saying. Am I wrong? Are we going to get canceled for this? Are you even worried about getting canceled? I mean,
I don't know what it means. Like, people come up, and when you're, I'm not a comedian, but, you know, I write.
You're as funny as one.
Oh, well, that's kind of
You
you to say.
totally are. I said that to you last time. I hate when they call you a humorist. Because a humorist to me is like, oh, a guy who's kind of like funny, whereas this guy's very funny. But go ahead.
Well, wait a minute. You just, what was the question?
Are we going to get canceled, or do you care?
You know, whenever I do a show, or do an interview, right, that's always a question. All around the world, are you worried about being canceled? And I think, what did I say? And then I realized I don't have a job. But most people have a real job, and they can't say anything on their job. So compared to them, they're hearing things that I'm saying things they could never say at work. But it's nothing. Like
Well, but there are people who say cancel culture isn't a real thing, and I would say to them, it just happened again at the Oscars. Now, you may not think it happened, but the movie that was going to win it all was Emilia Perez, right? And, you know, I got it. Hollywood loved this. They're finally going to have the person who's a trans person, God bless her, and she did a great job. And I read her tweets. It's just a little childlike in her tweets, you know, and that I sent it just a little Kanye-esque, because whatever's on the brain comes out. I mean, you know, Hitler, just don't mention Hitler at all. I feel like it never comes out good. And then some things she said, which are just, oh yeah, you know what? I've said things like that. It's just very, very honest. But of course, for the woke community, it was way too far. And this movie that was going to win it all, and was the front runner, and she was going to get it all, suddenly was out to lunch. And good news for Honora, that's what happened. So yes, cancel culture is still with us. It may just be a little more subtle.
To me, it's never the things, like I had an essay in the New Yorker about my old friend Dawn, who I've known for 50 years, right? And she had a collapsed lung, so she was nervous about COVID. So a couple of years ago, we're at the airport, and I said, you know, she had a mask on. I said, it's time to give it up. Look around. Everyone else, go ahead, take your mask off. So she did. Immediately got COVID, right?
That is a funny story.
No, but we've been friends forever.
But she was fine after she got it, right?
It was a little moment in the essay. Anyway, the essay came out, and all these people, oh, you're ableist, and you bullied a vulnerable person into taking a mask off. It's like, the things you think people will be offended by are never the things. You can't even guess in advance what they might be, so there's nothing I can do about it.
That's the same. I
don't read any of it.
Right, I don't either. But when something gets on through my transom, and I'm like, that's what blew their gasket? I would never have guessed it was that thing.
And anyway, I don't give a thing.
I don't know. Love you for coming by and taking the time. Great to see you. I know you didn't need to. I appreciate it. David Sedaris. All right, time to meet our panel. He is a former Democratic senator from Montana and co-hosts the podcast Grounded. John Tester is back with us. And she is the former communications director for President Trump and is currently co-host of ABC's The View, Alyssa Farah Griffin. Okay. So, did you watch the speech on Tuesday night? The long 100-minute speech?
Regrettably, but yes.
Okay. Mostly. All right. So, Trump said some things that were not exactly true. And when I say not exactly, I mean not at all. And I just think we should talk about that by saying, I don't want to talk about that. Because if you're conservative and you see him say many, many things that are not even close to true, you just don't care anymore. This is so baked in the cake. That is who he is. They do not take him literally or think he needs to be taken literally. It's an amazing advantage in politics, I think, but that's him. And if you're a liberal watching MSNBC every day, you're obsessed with this. And you've seen all these things where they exposed him. I'm bored with that shit. Okay? This is what he does. I just take everything with a grain of salt. If he says Zelensky's approval rating is 4%, it's 57. It's like, dog years. If somebody says the dog is 4, the dog is 28. So do you agree we should stop obsessing about his lies?
Yes, I think the era of rambling fact checks and going line by line through what he says, I don't know that it matters. I'm actually not convinced Donald Trump is trying to pick up any new voters. All he needs to do is keep his approval rating with the Republican Party roughly where it is. And to be honest, as much as that speech drove me crazy, a lot of people were really happy with it. He threw a lot of red meat to his base. He rattled off things that his voters love. And never mind the lies about Social Security and so on. He gave them a lot of what he's not trying to reach the other side because he doesn't need to anymore.
But he's not going to run again, wink, wink.
Yeah. Lindsey Graham would say otherwise.
The part about the speech that I thought was pretty amazing is that you talked about a lot of stuff, but Democrats they get criticized for not talking about kitchen table issues like cost of groceries and all the things that revolve around inflation and all that. I never heard a lot of solutions in that speech, and I don't know that he cares, as you already pointed out. But in the end, people are still very, very concerned about inflation. They're concerned about the price of food. They are also very concerned about whether we're becoming Putin's best buddy or we're going to maintain the relationships we've had for the last 80 years with folks in Europe and Australia and the Pacific Rim.
Yeah, I guess they are. I mean, to me, the telling line in the speech was when he said, I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. It's all about love. He's a little boy who did not get enough love, I guess, and he wants to make them. It sounds like a relationship fight. There's nothing I can say to make you smile or like me or appreciate me.
Where the Democrats, I think, where they made a mistake is they should have had a little fun. And they should have stood up. He said some things that I agreed with. He says they should have stood up and applauded and cheered and not sat down until they made him sit down for cheering.
That's what drove me crazy, because Trump is good at producing TV. If you didn't agree with the thing he said in that joint address to Congress, the shouting out of the kid with cancer, the highlighting we caught a terrorist that day, these moms who lost people, those will live online. People are going to see them. It's going to resonate. It pulled my heartstrings, and I can't stand the guy. And Democrats didn't match his theater with equally compelling theater. I mean, if there's no better metaphor for the Democratic Party than a man waving a cane right now.
It was a pretty damn nice cane.
It was actually a really nice cane.
It was. So I asked them to dig up a little piece of tape about, I think this was Biden's last State of the Union address, apropos to who doesn't stand and applaud for what. Biden said, he was talking about political violence, and just show it. It speaks for itself.
Political violence has absolutely no place in America, zero place. Again.
So they couldn't stand for that. They couldn't applaud. There's no place for political violence. So it's a two-way street.
Well, they're in the chamber January 6th took place, and so it would be a little too on the nose.
And besides that, just because they didn't do it doesn't mean the Democrats shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Stand up when he says something right. Give him the applause.
Yeah, right, but that's just not where we are in this country. So here's the quote I thought was apropos of what's going on the left. And by the way, if you watch the speech, I saw mostly the clips of it, and mostly it was people in the audience, the guy with the cane, people with, like, paddles. Oh, there's the cane dude. And then there's, okay, we're here's our pussy hat uniform. And these looks like you're at a auction signs. I mean, it was, John Fetterman called it a sad cavalcade of self-owns and unhinged petulance. I love him. I thought we should run last week. The Democrats seem so lost. And here's Jasmine Crockett, who is, I thought, a big leader in the Democratic Party. Her quote is, "This is a terrible nightmare. Somebody slap me and wake me the fuck up because I'm ready to get on with it." On with what would be my first question. And also, this is the way this is like how a podcaster talks or some shit. Fuck it, man. Can you imagine, I don't know, Obama saying, "Oh, man, dude, this shit is whacked, and fuck it, slap me, I'm fucking over it." I mean, come on, man.
They're elected members of Congress that, yes, while in the minority, it doesn't mean you have no power. The sort of idea of all you can do is a poorly orchestrated press conference or hold up the sign, it's not really true. Like, get creative with the House rules, see what you can do. I actually honestly don't hate the government shutdown idea. I think Democrats need to show that they're willing to play hardball. No one wins in a government shutdown, let's be clear. It's not good for the public, but they need some kind of an actual action beyond just whining outside of the federal building.
Okay, but wait a second.
Where the Democrats missed it is that they could have stood up and brought people in who have been affected by these policies in an incredibly negative way, and there's plenty of them, and talk to those folks and distribute it out so that they're talking to their neighbors.
Okay, I don't know. When the Democrats threaten to do it, it's always the end of the world. How can you do this when you shut down the government? You know, we don't pay our bills and all the rest of the shit that goes on, and you're going to crash the economy. But now it's okay.
No, I did not.
No, I'm talking.
I do not endorse the government shutdown.
Yeah.
I think everybody loses with the government shutdown. It's not the right thing to do, and so they should work together, hopefully in a bipartisan way, to come up with an agreement so that the government stays open, because it is a total waste of taxpayer money and services. It's Elon Musk on steroids. All the services go away.
The only pushback, and by the way, I agree it's not actually good for the country, but a political strategy standpoint, the Republicans control both chambers and the White House underscore that. Say, Mike Johnson, you need to find the votes.
That's true.
John Thune, you have to find the votes. Maybe at least take it to the edge as they often do, but there's got to be some sort of owning the power that you have in Congress, or then get out and have a podcast.
There isn't. You know what? People come to me all the time when I'm out, like at the Oscar party. Bill, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I don't know. You're at the Oscar party. Have a great time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you're doing. What are you going to do? Like, your life is falling apart, you fucking phone. No, but, you know, what are you going to do? Be a viable alternative. You can't do anything because you lost the election. You lost all three branches of government. Okay, so the only thing you can do is be somebody a party who, when the independent voter looks at the scene, says, "Oh, you know what? I don't like what Trump is doing, but these people are crazier." Now, apropos of this, I know I pick on the New York Times a lot. They should take it as kind of a compliment because they're so influential. But here's the headline yesterday that I thought just says, God, you people don't get it. Headline, "Party divided," I'm talking about the Democratic Party, "Party divided on resistance. Stand up to Trump or try to court the center." It's not an or. That is how you stand up to Trump.
That's right.
You court the center.
That's right.
You go to the place where people are going to vote for you.
Yeah, you go to the place where the people are. Mm-hmm. And that way, those disenfranchised Republicans have a place to land because they don't think the other party's crazy. And if they're able to do that, and you do that by talking about common sense stuff that people deal with every day, if you're able to do that, I think it
was a very good drive. It's very assertive, very, let's see if it actually pulls into the driveway again. It is. It's putting the turn signal on, turn in, but it's not turning it. Almost.
And the truth is the top of the ticket has to at least be competitive if you're going to win in a red state, or even a purple state. And the top of the ticket did not perform because I don't think the top of the ticket embraced the issues that Americans are talking about.
Hey, baby.
Wrapped up in all the
Or hum.
cancel culture crap.
And the identity politics, but I thought Alyssa Slotkin did an excellent job laying out the message and the response. Listen,
you hungry?
the State of the Union response is going to change the world, but she gave Democrats the play.
You are free, Julia. You free? Yep, yeah. Up, yeah. Let's get your leash.